if the Bears could just play on Thursday night, it might be a playoff team.
Right.
Sadly, they won't be playing on Thursday night against the Detroit Lions.
They're like, we actually want Al Michaels calling our
Yeah.
games, unlike everybody on X.
We just call our crappy
question the
games.
great Al Michaels' enthusiasm.
And get the win against the Panthers on Thursday night. They had won their first game of the year in D.C. against the Commanders on a Thursday night. Now, we're going to find out. You know, we talked a lot about Kyler Murray in the first couple hours here about kind of auditioning to get his old job back. And I feel like that's what Justin Fields, if he is in fact back. He's had the bad thumb. They thought he might have been ready to go for the Thursday night game. He's not. Now with the added 10 days, again, not playing doctor, you would think Justin Fields is going to be back in action.
Right.
This number has gone from Bears getting 7.5 to up to 9. And I'm sure that's part and parcel with how good Detroit looked offensively today. They'd had some indifferent offensive performances in previous weeks. Really got it cooking against the Chargers today. Now it's up to 9, and the total has gone up from 45 to 46.5. I don't know if that's Justin Fields' movement for that 1.5 or more Lions getting their groove back.
It could be a little bit of both, I would think. Bears had 295 yards of offense, and that was enough in a 16-13 win over Carolina, who just had 213. But look, Tyson Bagent, I think we've seen what he is. He's game manager, doesn't really turn it over all that frequently, but not really a guy that's going to be a big play guy as a quarterback.
Nope.
He has a certain ceiling, but and also looking at the Bears, are they going to get Khalil Herbert back in the backfield? Now, Dante Foreman did a nice job Thursday night.
He's played well.
21 for 80, also had a touchdown rushing. So, you know, Bears got to win, so they got a little feel good, and now you've got Detroit who, man, they did 533 yards today. That is 8.3 a play. So, yeah, that's partially the Lions' offense and that Charger defense. Detroit, man, you just look at this box score and how many, like, huge chunk plays they had. Montgomery had a 75-yard run. Gibbs had a 35-yard run. St. Brown, a 46-yard catch. Khalif Raymond, a 41-yard catch. Wright, the 25-yard touchdown. Gibbs, a 24-yard reception. And that's only a few. I could go up and down the box score. They had so many today, and they're just so explosive. And then obviously, if they get in that fast turf up at Ford Field, that's why you're starting to see some 10s in the market, including right here behind us at Circa.
I would think if Justin Fields is in fact back, that's going to help the Bears offense as well. I can understand why that number has moved up to 46.5. Don't know if it'll get more in the way of 47s like we had today for the Chargers and the Lions. Obviously, sales way over that total today. But, you know, again, I look at Matt Eberflus. He's done a better job. Alan Williams was the defensive coordinator, left, very disturbing reasons there. We don't have to get into that. But Eberflus took over the play calling. And I've asked you a lot about him because you know him well from the Colts days there. I think he's done a better job with that defense since he's taken over the play calling duties on the defensive side of the ball. And I say this all the time, like, you're a head coach. It doesn't just, yes, you're the CEO, but what do you do? What do you do? Like Brandon Staley, you're supposed to be the guy running that defense in L.A. That's what Eberflus does here. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, if they can somehow get a little bit more offense with Justin Fields, if the defense, in fact, can just limit the Lions and keep them under, say, 20-24, then maybe 10's a playable number on the Bears side. But that's a big ask to hold them to 24.
It could be. And look, I don't know if this is necessarily going to be a look ahead for Detroit. Of course, they got to play the short week on Thanksgiving against the Green Bay Packers. So, you know, for Survivor players, we were talking about that last week. It's like, if you're going to use Dallas today, then you're dead to using Detroit on Thanksgiving because they're going to be the biggest favorite. The Survivor players in the Survivor, I should say.
Yep.
And, you know, Detroit, I think this number probably is going to stay right where it is. I don't think that this is going through the 10. I think if it does, you immediately do get buyback because Detroit, off the bye week, you get a win on the road, even though the Chargers' home field advantage we talked about earlier is kind of a little bit null and void. But all of a sudden the Lions, you know, now you got Minnesota there chasing after you a little bit, but this is the Lions' division to lose. I think they've been
minus 1,100.
They've been the clear best team.
They have
in the NFC North, or what did Chris Berman used to call it, the NFC Norris division. the Norris division. Now you're 7-2. You're coming back. You're getting a divisional opponent. This is the first meeting, by the way. They're going to meet again on December 10th in Soldier Field. But I think 10's probably about the right number.
And the Lions do have bigger fish to fry because, again, it's 7-2, right? And I know the Eagles only have one loss. They could have visions of getting the number 1 overall seed. When you look at the Eagles' schedule coming up, it's going to get pretty daunting for
and the schedule for Detroit is manageable. You have Chicago and Green Bay at home. You go to New Orleans. That's a tough place to win on the road, but New Orleans is painfully
average. They'll be a small favorite there.
Then you're at Chicago. You get Denver at home, and then you go to Minnesota. You get the Cowboys on the road at the end of 2023, and then Minnesota at home. So, other than Dallas.
On the road, that's the only one
that might be the only one where they're a dog. Maybe they're a small dog at Minnesota if Minnesota keeps this up, but they're going to be favorite in all the rest of their games.
They're going to have a real shot here. That's why it's minus 1,100 that they win the division and possibly being in play for that number 1 seed because the Niners right now already have 3 losses, and the Eagles' road will get tougher.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.